Today we're going to talk a little bit about understanding GRC, what it is, how we can address it, how we can move forward with all things GRC. My name is Brad Swanson. I'm a principal consultant here at Lumifi in our enterprise consulting division. Most often I function as a virtual CISO. I also do a lot of assessments, security awareness training, some incident response, tabletop exercises, and any other things that might make your lives a little bit easier here. So we'll jump right in here and we want to talk about GRC. What is GRC exactly? So GRC stands for governance, risk, and compliance. Governance is really the management of operations and risk. It kind of sets some clear guidelines and goalposts for what we want to get accomplished. Risk is the identification and mitigation of any potential risks that come along. And then finally, compliance is ensuring that your business is adhering to any relevant regulatory or legal requirements that they may have. The guidelines for the governance are partially driven by the risk and compliance efforts, as well as whatever your organizational mission may be. Risk includes not only the detection of risk, but what do you do once you do detect it? Managing that risk, mitigating that risk. And there's a couple of different ways that can be done. A lot of times this is handled through a risk management program, another thing that Lumifi can assist with. Compliance is going to be around a lot of the frameworks that we need to comply with. This could be HIPAA or PCI, CMMC, SOC 1, SOC 2, the NIST CSF. There's a whole pile of different regulatory organizations out there that different businesses need to comply with based on what that business offers to folks. So in the past, GRC was really kind of compliance driven historically, rather than having risk or governance drive that. Compliance kind of set the tone at the top, if you will, for what our security efforts were. It was historically done to kind of check a box. We need to meet certain regulatory obligations. That comes into the compliance team. The compliance team is going to tell security, IT, other folks, hey, we need to do A, B, and C in order for us to be compliant with this regulatory piece. It was often looked at once a year. Whenever the auditors would come to the business, that's when compliance ramped up. That was their busy time, as it were, and it was only looked at during that time. Fast forward to modern times, and it's really kind of changed a bit. So GRC is quickly becoming a requirement for many regulatory frameworks, where if you're not complying, you're going to have a hard time doing business with some of these frameworks. All three pillars really need to work together, and they need to work not only with themselves, but also with some of your external efforts, your IT department or information technology, OT or operational technology, and your various cybersecurity groups and efforts there. The GRC efforts and controls are looked at, updated, reviewed on a very regular cadence. It's not just that once a year before the auditors walk in the door. Now it's part of business, our day-to-day operations really tie into GRC. So what GRC is and is not. GRC is driven by security. It's really a good way to get a handle on our security needs, our security requirements, not only internally, but what our regulatory folks are looking for and what our clients and customers look for. A lot of times, as often stated by one of our field CISOs, Mike Hamilton, a lot of times organizations or customers will come to us to do business with us, and the first they want to do is see our papers, as Mike likes to phrase it. That's basically a way for us to show off things like our SOC 2 or our CMMC audits, anything that's going to show that, hey, we are doing security well, we're handling GRC in a positive way. So really, security and the need to continue to do business is one of the big drivers for GRC. And nowadays, it's really considered a best practice for anybody out there. It really shows that we're doing things right, and it's a way for us to check our own work, to make sure that we're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. It's a partnership. It doesn't need to be contentious. It's not compliance versus security. It's compliance and security. and risk comes into that as well. It's definitely achievable, and the benefit to organizations is really, really great when it's done correctly and effectively. Things that GRC is not. It's not something that replaces security. If you go through a PCI audit, that doesn't mean your entire business is secure. It means that your cardholder data environment is secure, but it doesn't account for every control within your business. So it doesn't replace security or best practices within your business. It's not something that gets conducted in a vacuum. You really need to get buy-in across the business for GRC efforts to make sure that you are addressing any possible risk, compliance needs, and to make sure that the business is properly governed. It's also not a one and done. It's a continuous improvement type of thing to monitor our governance and our risk and our compliance needs. Compliance regulations and the different frameworks, the controls and those can change year to year. We've recently seen some updates for HIPAA coming out, for example. So things do evolve and grow. So we need to make sure that we are staying on top of those things. We don't do it once and then walk away from it. We need to be constantly engaged and involved with it. And it doesn't need to be painful. A lot of times folks will hear the auditors are coming, or we need to update our SAQD for our PCI engagement. It used to be something terrifying and painful, but if you do it daily and keep GRC in the front of mind, it becomes second nature and becomes just an automatic muscle memory type activity and is no longer that huge amount of pain or fear or terror that comes with a lot of different assessments and audit requirements. And then finally, it's no longer optional. It used to be a lot of places would have a compliance team, but they wouldn't really look at risk or governance, or maybe they had a risk team, but they didn't really do a lot for compliance. It's becoming more and more required now with different regulatory frameworks and with different customers looking to achieve security on their end. They want to make sure that we're secure on our end and that you're secure with your business on your end. So no longer optional for us. So places that you can turn to for assistance with GRC efforts. A lot of places have a great GRC team, a risk governance committee, a good compliance group, a strong IT group. Not everybody has that though. We're all in different stages of our cybersecurity journey. And cybersecurity is definitely a journey, not a destination. You're never done with cybersecurity. So you may end up needing assistance today, tomorrow, a year from now. It's always nice to know that you do have a resource that you can turn to when it comes to GRC. Lumifi can assist with a lot of your GRC efforts. As an example, we can assist you with policy work. If you need a policy review or if you need policies written or updated, we can assist with that. We can get you a qualified consultant that will come in, help you get those things knocked out, and get you in a good place as far as policy work goes. We can also assist with different management frameworks. This could be things like a risk management program, vendor management, things that are going to make your life easier in the long run. These are things that we've set up for many, many organizations. It's really not terribly difficult to set up, but it is a little time consuming. Sometimes you might not have that available bandwidth, and that's where a third party like Lumifi can really come in and help you excel in those areas. We also do things such as conducting SRAs and FSAs. So an FSA is a focused security assessment. We do a lot of these around like the NIST Cybersecurity Framework version 2. And the SRAs, we do a lot of those around HIPAA. And what these are, it's not an audit, it's an assessment. So it's a spot check. We come in, we say, let's look at these controls that you want to comply with for this regulatory body. Let's see how your organization is doing. If there are any shortcomings, we make recommendations. We don't leave you hanging. We want to make sure that you have the tools that you need and in order to be able to comply with your GRC efforts. We also provide virtual CISO services, or vCISO, also known as a fractional CISO. And that's somebody to kind of steer the boat as everybody is working on the GRC piece of everything. We can help drive that not only to your IT teams, but to the company as a whole. And then finally, if you just need a little bit of assistance, just some additional headcount to help get over that hump, we can provide subject matter expert hours. It's a bucket of hours. We'll meet with you. We'll talk about your challenges and your successes, and we'll determine how many hours we think you would benefit from. And then you just pay for a bucket of hours, and then you can use those as needed to help you with your GRC engagements and efforts. That's all we have on this for today. Thank you so much for watching this short video about what is GRC and how do we address the various GRC needs. Make sure that you stay connected with Lumifi. We have a free, no obligation daily cybersecurity newsletter, and it's actually managed by Mike Hamilton, former CISO of the city of Seattle. Mike is an amazing individual, does a really, really nice job with this newsletter. Again, it's free to sign up for. If you go to this link on the screen, lumificyber.com/daily-news, you'll be able to sign up for that. And again, no obligation, no need to buy anything from us. It's just a free service that we provide because we value our customers. We also do free monthly security awareness trainings online. Security awareness training has become a very important part of GRC. And this is a way that you can do it if maybe you don't have the resources in-house to complete security awareness training. We can assist with that. Again, no charge on that. We simply want to make the world a better and safer place for everybody. And then finally, we do have a regular podcast. Our Threat Watch podcast is available out on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com and then look for Lumifi Cyber, you'll be able to find all of our videos that we've made available on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Finally, learn about our nonprofit partner, Pisces, at PiscesIntl or PiscesInternational.org. It's a really great program to get new cybersecurity folks into the fold and get them spun up on real-world data before they hit the workforce. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really great talking to you for this brief little presentation. And yeah, I would invite you to come and watch more in this series. Thanks so much. Have a great day.